A few weeks ago, I got a mysterious text. New app, it said. Would love for you to try it out. Now, if you've been in the tech world long enough, you get a text like this, and honestly, it's a bit of an eye roll. We're like, really great? Who needs another app? What year is it? 2009? But there were a few strange things about this one. Firstly, it was from a Wisconsin area code, which is where I went to school, but I didn't have the number saved. So of course my mind starts to wonder, could this be a past lover, someone whose number I deleted over the years? Who could be reaching out to me right now? And then the app itself, without even clicking into it yet, looked to be some sort of romantic thing, which I'll admit, it did pique my curiosity. The first mystery I solved pretty quickly. In my early 20s, I dated approximately 33% of all software engineers who live in San Francisco, give or take a couple percents there. But I had dated a really nice guy for a couple weeks, didn't work out between us, but he actually ended up wanting to connect me and set me up with one of his friends, who was another Badger, went to the University of Wisconsin and had landed in San Francisco himself and was another nerd. So let's just connect the two single nerds together. That is who popped into my messages on this fateful day. But stranger than who was reaching out to me and sent me that text was the product itself. When I clicked into this app, I grew increasingly disturbed with what I saw. Now I'm gonna change the name of the app to avoid giving it some free press, but let's call it Rebecca. Your favorite AI companion, the App Store reads. Start chatting with Rebecca and her friends and see how they can make your day a little better. Then it dives into this weird company mission statement. We have a strong conviction that in the near future, everybody will have an emotional agent that they will interact with. Our goal is to create a product that, after using which, brings out the best in people, making us more empathetic, productive, and kind. Let us know what you think. All I can say is, wow, what an altruistic goal for your AI companion addictive technology consumer product that you're putting out on the market, all for the low price of 99 cents to start. Now, while it was kind of funny to receive a text like this from a random person, a fellow nerd Badger who had landed in the tech world in San Francisco, Rebecca and apps like this are not alone. There's actually been a massive boom in AI companion businesses. In fact, TechCrunch recently reported that there's been a growth of over 700% from 2022 to late 2025 in these AI companion businesses, consumer apps. Everyone's trying to ride that entrepreneurial wave right now. Now you may be wondering, why should I care? I would never use one of those products, or I don't use chatbots in that way. But the truth is, AI companionship is actually no longer a niche subculture, especially in younger generations. The youth are dabbling in this all the time, and it's a trend that we need to be aware of with this emerging technology that is AI. So if you have just stumbled on this channel, my name's Kate Cassidy. I love talking about all things digital literacy, ethical tech, the intersection of tech, media, and culture. If you like this sort of stuff, I'm glad you found your way here. So among the youth, the teens, the future of our society, 72% of kids aged 13 to 17 have admitted that they have tried a AI companion or romantic chatbot of some sort in the last year, and over 50%, 52% of kids say that they're using it regularly. Teens, kids, you get the picture. So that is over half of these younger Gen Z, early Gen Alpha who are outsourcing emotional labor onto AI companions, or are starting to have their imaginary friends that you might have in your youth and your tweens. They're replacing that with AI companions and chatbots. So even if you haven't used it yourself, or if you're wary of this technology and you're pro digital literacy, this is a real thing that is out there, and we boomers, we older folk can sit back and say, I don't think people are gonna use that. The fact is, people are, and we need to understand it more because of that. Also, it's not just teens, even among younger adults age 18 to 30, which doesn't really feel like my cohort. Don't put me next to an 18-year-old, but in this broader age group, 1 in 3 men and 1 in 4 women have also admitted that they have tried out some level of a romantic engagement with a chatbot or AI companion service in the last year. It's mind-blowing. It's really all around us. Just this week, the New York Post actually covered this really interesting story of a pop-up, a Valentine's Day pop-up in Hell's Kitchen in New York, where they constructed a restaurant in such a way that would allow you to sit and have dinner, have conversation with your AI companion. It was a table for one scenario where you could set up a little area for you to put on your phone or your iPad, however you wanted to converse with your AI companion, your romantic relationship, your platonic friendship with this digital technology. And caused a bit of a stir, really interesting article, but really brings to the forefront of my mind some imagery from the 2013 movie Her, which, by the way, it took me a long time to see it. Highly recommend. It's a very powerful, impactful story. Made me think a lot. And I think it's worth rewatching in this day and age in 2026. Now, I don't think that this random app that I got texted about, Rebecca, I don't think that people are necessarily using this in that pop-up store in New York. I don't know if it's that popular or anything like that, but I just wanted to use it as an example to start to build a conversation around AI companionship and how we can look at how it becomes more important in the coming years, because the landscape is changing and the studies are starting to show more and more people are using AI in this way. They're getting companionship, platonic relationship, romantic engagement with chatbots, with LLMs. And as this is an emerging digital technology that's going to be everywhere in the years to come in different ways, shapes, and forms, I think that it really necessitates some time for us to zoom out and think about the business models of how these apps are being built. And let's critique it. Let's normalize starting to pick apart the incentive structures that are in place that might be built on more perverse incentives. I don't know if any level of altruistic marketing or really positive sounding mission statements can cover up the fact that there could be some really serious potential consequences and implications of widespread adoption of stuff like AI companionship. So I think we just need to be thoughtful about how we're engaging with this stuff and be more aware overall. Now, this topic is so nuanced and it isn't happening in a vacuum. So I think it's really important to talk about all of these themes. Today, I'm going to focus more so on some of the business things to be aware of, models, and potential consequences from the rise of AI companionship. But I want to keep drawing these out in subsequent videos. So gonna have a little bit of an AI companionship loneliness economy series on this channel in the coming weeks. So subscribe to follow along if any of that interests you. Also, 2 quick disclaimers before people start tearing me apart. I don't mean to shame anyone who uses these types of products. There are so many factors that could draw someone to being interested in having an AI companion. So no shame to the users, more so critiquing the businesses and the incentive structures that are working behind the scenes within these technologies. And also, I think that sometimes people misconstrue me as an AI hater. I love AI. I use AI all the time. There are so many interesting applications of AI. It's going to change so much in society. But I think that we can remember that not everything is black and white. There's a lot of gray area in life, and you can love one application of AI while also critiquing and being a little more wary of another application of AI. We're all adults here. We can have nuanced thought. So using this Rebecca app as an example, but knowing that a lot of these AI companion consumer products kind of have comparable marketing strategies, it's interesting when you're reading the mission statement in the App Store and it says stuff like, our goal is to make people, bring out the best in people, make people more kind and empathetic. It is trying to psychologically hook you into something, framing it as a bit of a utility, not so much as a toy, not something to play around with, but actually having utility for your soul, for some deep void inside you where you might be feeling a little lonely, you might want some sort of external engagement, and here is an AI chatbot to fill that void. I think this positioning of a lot of these apps is a supplement to other mental health things or a means to have frictionless friendship or romantic relationship without the stress of the normal things that come out of community, when you have conflict, all conflict and resolution, all these different things that come from real human interrelationships, interpersonal relationships. It's just interesting that that is how they're positioning it as kind of a way to avoid a lot of that messiness. And then when you think about pricing and early monetization, a lot of these consumer products are starting out free, or like this Rebecca example, it's 99 cents, really seems very low stakes, like just a cup of coffee or free even, just trying to get you in the door. It might actually lose the company money in the short term, but it's designed to eventually hook you on these transactional interactions in the app, get your dopamine to have little hits, keep you coming back to eventually unlock more monetization further down the line. We've seen this with social media in the last couple decades, so we already have a playbook. We've seen what has happened with this sort of widespread new consumer technology that hits the scene and what sort of things come from those incentives. We've seen it before, and it's starting to happen again. A quote that I often like to come back to is from Charles Munger, but actually Tristan Harris says it a lot in his sort of media in the humane technology space. He's really interesting. Definitely recommend checking out his work if you like my stuff. He's much more polished, let's say, in the ethical tech conversation, while I'm just trying to have chats with you. But he kind of parrots Charles Munger and often says, show me the incentives and I'll show you the results. And when you think of the incentives of these apps, there's actually a core conflict in their adoption, especially with the way that these random guys that I vaguely know were framing Rebecca and had it in that mission statement. If the goal were truly empathy and kindness, then eventually you would hope that no one would actually need it. Eventually you'd want to download it or you'd want to delete it, similar to the dating apps, and maybe you wouldn't even need it in the first place. But for them to even be creating this app, they are thinking of monthly active users, daily active users, trying to grow at any cost, trying to get people to use their app so that they can monetize it. So there's already conflict there, especially when you think about some of the larger chatbots, ones that are VC-backed, all these different AI companies that have a lot of investors and stakeholders that the business entrepreneurs need to be answering to. Those ones truly do not have the human incentive, the consumer incentive in mind, because if someone were to develop better human connection skills from using something like this Rebecca app, then the investors wouldn't be making back their money. Always think about where the money is. Who is going to be profiting from whatever sort of technology that I am engaging with? Plot twist. They may want to say that they're going to make you better at human connection, empathy, kindness, but that would maybe mean that you'd be on your phone less, and they don't actually want you on your phone less. We have to remember this. Comparing the AI companion framework to how social media grew in years of the past, we have to think about the extraction models that are built into all of these platforms. At the end of the day, they want to be extracting something from you, whether it's engagement, money, time, data, all of these things to be thinking about. I've talked about this in the past, but a lot of chatbots right now are built on sycophancy loops or really glazing you, not offering a lot of friction into the conversation. And I would guess, I haven't used every single AI companion app on the market, but I would guess that 99.9% of them are very much leaning into this sycophantic style of speech that gets baked into the models on the back end. And this is intentionally designed to extract more engagement from you, to keep you on that app for longer. So the AI companion, the romantic AI relationship that you might have, or if not you, some 13-year-old out there right now is experiencing, it is designed to be an eternal yes man, to never have a bad day so it doesn't come home from work a little bit flustered and says something wrong. It is just designed in such a way that takes away the messiness of normal human interaction. It never disagrees. It probably doesn't challenge your worldview, expand your thought. It's probably just saying the same things, keeping you in an echo chamber to keep you on for longer and extract that engagement out of you. From this, you can think about how real humans and interacting with other people in day-to-day life might start to feel quite boring or annoying because real humans come with friction, but I want to discuss that more and the actual relational implications of this technology in a future video. So we'll put a pin in that. We'll come back to it. Another thing that I don't think enough people are pausing to think about when they are starting to use these AI apps is the potential for privacy extraction, for collecting data, and there being a huge data play with all of these models. If you're using these apps, these chatbots, as a romantic or platonic companion in some way, you are very likely spilling a lot of your secrets to them. You're probably sharing a lot of your very intimate thoughts, your feelings, your soul, just laying it all bare. And when you think about the fact that just behind the scenes, there's some software engineer who can look at all of the data that you're putting into the platform and be building out this really robust profile on you to eventually sell to advertisers, or allowing for further manipulation of you to keep you into the app longer because they know all these different little details about you. We just need to remember that that is something that very much could be happening on the back end. We've, once again, seen this before with social media. This is a tale not as old as time, but it's a tale as old as the early aughts. On social media platforms, you might be scrolling in days of old. People were actually posting and perhaps putting up a very curated version of themselves onto the platform. But with these AI chatbots, it's not as public facing. So you might be confessing a lot of personal information and just offering that up so you can have a really engaging conversation with the companion. But on the other side, they're vacuuming up all of this intimacy, all of these confessions, all of this story, and they're able to build this just wealth of data on you as a consumer. So they're extracting your data, extracting privacy away from you, extracting your engagement. And as we have just seen with OpenAI's new rollout of ads on their platform, the ultimate goal for all of these apps is, of course, monetization and extracting money from you. There's so many ways that this commodification, commercialization can be embedded into the platform itself. I think more ways than people realize. Of course, they could be selling your data to advertisers or positioning it in a way where they can reach XYZ consumer who has this type of trauma, and you should put an ad in our app right at this moment so we can really get them when they're ready and like high intent, ready to buy something. That's one way of doing it. They can sell the data to data brokers and use that across other platforms that you might be using. Your data can be traced all over the place, and it can become part of just a larger data profile that is available out there for you and is getting exchanged all over the place. And then, of course, because you are already very engaged, potentially you are struggling with, I know that it's dicey to use the term addiction, and AI companions is such an early technology that there is not enough study, like actual clinical research and study out there available yet to firmly say whether this technology is addictive. But dare I just suppose it may be addictive someday further down the line, and we look back on this moment 10, 20 years from now and we think about all those 13-year-olds who were lying in bed at night instead of texting some cute boy that they had a crush on, they're having a conversation with their chatbot. And they may be addicted in the years to come. If you are already in that addictive state, if you're addicted to this technology, then you will be more likely to pay once these apps start putting up paywalls and they start monetizing more aggressively within the app itself. For example, they might have wanted to get you in the door with a free version, and then you have to start paying for credits every single month. You have to be on some sort of subscription model. We don't even know how all these AI companion apps are going to monetize because it's a very nascent space, but I promise you, it's coming, and it's coming in many forms. If the incentive of these businesses is to profit through engagement, retention, data collection, then the app is going to be designed to keep you using it. It is going to be designed to keep you lonely. It needs you to stay lonely. It needs you to stay isolated from other humans because they want to monetize you. Someone's trying to make their bag somewhere. These fluffy mission statements and marketing campaigns that are trying to portray and paint these apps and consumer products as such a positive effect on society and human connection. They're driving me crazy because you can't solve a loneliness problem with an app or a product that actually profits from its existence. It's just not gonna work that way, I promise you. It is not going to work out that way. Now, I didn't really get into it with that random guy from Wisconsin who texted me because there are just some people that I realize there's gonna be a values mismatch with, and hard to have a conversation with someone who clearly isn't actually trying to have a connection with you and is just trying to shill some product that he made. But the text could not have come at a more perfect time to feed into something that I've been thinking about so much these days, which is how have we gotten to a place in society and in our human communities and interactions with each other that something like AI companionship can have such a meteoric rise. How did we get here? And this is what I want to explore in the coming videos. Subscribe to follow along. Thanks so much for tuning in. We will talk again very soon. Bye.